All right, hey guys, we are moving on to section 9.3, which is rotation. Section 9.3 is actually broken up into two different parts. We're going to do rotations on the coordinate plane and then rotations with our compass and protractor. So today we're going to focus on just the ones that are on the coordinate plane. All right, and then we will make day 2 be the ones with our compass. All right, so let's first talk about what a rotation is. A rotation is a transformation that turns a figure around a fixed point called the center of rotation. All right, so when we talk about a rotation, we're going to talk about turning it. A rotation is an isometry. So that means that the image of the rotated figure is congruent to the pre-image. Remember, we said that the other day about translations, right? Our slides, we're taking a figure and sliding it, that's a translation, and it stays exactly the same. Well, when we rotate a figure, it's staying exactly the same size and shape as well. We're just turning it. All right, so here's two examples. This one we rotated 90 degrees clockwise, and this one was rotated 120 degrees counterclockwise. You do need to know the difference between clockwise and counterclockwise. So hopefully you guys are all comfortable with, even if we just do 12, 3, 6, and 9, right? If we're going this way around the clock, that is obviously clockwise. And then if you're going against the numbers, that would be your counterclockwise. So that is something you have to think about as we do these rotations, okay? Down below you can see your learning targets for this lesson. We're still going to be distinguishing between the different types of transformations, and then we're going to do rotations about the origin on a coordinate plane, okay? So, first things first, let's look at number 1 and see if we can determine if the transformation is a reflection, a translation, a rotation, or none. So remember, reflection, the word we use there is flip, right? Reflections are flipped over a certain line. Translations, we think about a slide. And then rotation, we're talking about turning it. So if you take a look at number 1, we've got this fixed point right here, and our figure is just turning that direction. So this one is a rotation, and that's because it's turning. Okay. For number 2, hopefully you guys are pros at this by now, but that one right there is going to be a reflection. You can draw in your line of reflection. That one is flipped. Okay. Looking at number 3, well, we start with a triangle and end with a triangle, but the problem is those are clearly different sizes, right? Which means this is none of the ones that we've talked about so far, because we haven't talked about anything changing size yet. All right, and then look at number 4. This one actually should help you out that this almost looks like a clock, right? And we're rotating from here to here. This one is a rotation, because we're turning. All right, you do need to be comfortable identifying all those different types of transformations. So if you're having trouble with that, please make sure you talk to me in class. Okay? All right, on to some actual rotations here. So we are going to rotate, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. We are going to rotate the given points about the origin using the given angle of rotation. So for number 1, we've got this point S over here, and I'm going to actually clarify right here. S is the point -5, 3, and we've got the point V right here. That's the point -4, -1. All right, if I want to rotate 180 degrees about the origin, then I am going to actually pick up my paper and rotate my paper 180 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to pick it up and flip it over, and now it's completely upside down, right? Here's this problem we were just working on. Okay, well, point S we said was at -5, 3. That means this is my new coordinate plane, and I'm going to plot that point, -5, 3. So here's my origin. I'm going to go -5, +3. That right there is my S prime. Okay? I'm going to draw it upside down only because I'm used to doing that, but if you need to turn your paper and do your S prime, or really you can write it this way, as long as you've got the prime on it, I'm good. All right, then for point V, well, if I want to rotate that 180 degrees, I'm still going to use this coordinate plane, and I want the point -4, -1. So -4, -1, that would be right here. That's my V prime. Okay, again, I'm going to do it upside down, but if you need to do it the right side up, that's okay too. But there's my V prime. So now watch when I rotate my paper the 180 degrees again and get back to where I started. Here's V originally, and it rotated 180 degrees to V prime. Here's S, and it's rotating 180 degrees over to S prime. Okay? With the 180, it's as simple as that. You don't have to worry about direction because it's 180 degrees. Regardless of if you go clockwise or counterclockwise, you're still going to end up at the 180 degrees, so it's okay. But now let's look at number 2. Number 2 says 90 degrees counterclockwise. That means since the points are here, counterclockwise, I want them to end up over there. Okay, 90 degrees would mean I turn it halfway, okay? Or I turn it a quarter of the way, excuse me, not halfway. But before we do that, I want to talk about how to do this. So if I want my points to rotate counterclockwise, you are going to turn your paper clockwise. So it's going to be the opposite. Okay, since I want my points to go counterclockwise, I'm going to turn my paper clockwise. So it's going to turn like this. Okay, and this is the problem we're focusing on right now. All right, so point C was originally at 3, 4. Let's actually go back. Sorry guys, I kind of forgot about that part. Let's figure out what these points are. C is at the point 3, 4. And M is the point 2, -2. Okay, now let's turn our paper clockwise. Sorry about that confusion there for a second. Now we're going to plot these exact same points with this as my new coordinate plane. Okay, so here's my origin still. These are my positive x's now and my negative x's, my positive y's and my negative y's. All right, so the point 3, 4, well, here's 3 and 4, so that's right here. That's going to be my C prime then. Okay, then for M, I want the point 2, -2. So 2, -2 would be right here. That would be my M prime. Okay, now let's turn our paper back to normal and see if that makes sense to us. Okay, we started with M down here in quadrant 4. If I want to rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise, that would make sense for it to be in quadrant 1, right? Then here's my C originally, my pre-image, and then my image, bam, over here in quadrant 2, that would make sense too. I turned my figure, or my points, excuse me, 90 degrees counterclockwise, and I did it by turning my paper clockwise. Okay, I am going to go in really quick and just rewrite my labels so that they are facing the right direction. That's my M prime, and this is my C prime. Okay, let's do another one. Number 3 says we want to do 90 degrees clockwise. Okay, so clockwise, remember, is going to turn like a clock. That's going to go this way. All right, so see if you can look at your figure or your points and decide where it's going to end up. So point Z, I want to move 90 degrees clockwise. I'm thinking it's going to end up down here. And here's point H. If I want to go 90 degrees clockwise, I'm going to assume it's going to end up somewhere over here. So let's start by figuring out what those initial points are. Z is the point 4, 3. And H is the point -1, -5. All right, if I want my points to go clockwise, I need to turn my paper counterclockwise. So turn your paper counterclockwise. All right, so if my paper is here, I want to turn it counterclockwise. I'm going to turn it this direction. All right, so now this last coordinate plane that we're talking about is actually on the top of our paper. Okay, that's because we turned our paper counterclockwise. So let's replot these points. I want the point 4, 3. All right, well, here's my origin. Here's 4. Here's 3. So that's my Z prime. And then I want to find my H prime, so -1, -5. So -1, -5 would be right here. That would be my H prime. All right, let's turn our paper back normal and see if that's going to make sense to us. See if our predictions were correct. So here's Z. I want to go clockwise. Bam. There's Z prime. Here's H. I want to go clockwise. There's my H prime. Okay? We're going to do the same thing now, but with figures instead of just with 2 points. Okay? So it's the same idea. Let's draw our pre-image first. We're still going to rotate about the origin with our given angle of rotation. All right, so we're going to go 90 degrees counterclockwise, which means our points should be going counterclockwise, but our paper is going to go clockwise. So let's remind ourselves of that note real quick. Our paper is going to get turned clockwise so that our points can go counterclockwise. So let's draw our original figure. So the point -2, 0 would be right here. -3, 4 would be right here. And 2, 2 would be right here. So that's M. This one is R. And this one is U. Let's draw that figure in there. All right, so we've got this triangle, right? Make sure that you've got your original one plotted on there as well with your labels. All right, now we're going to focus on how to actually rotate this. So we want our paper to go we want our points to go counterclockwise. So our paper needs to go clockwise, which means our paper needs to follow the direction of a clock, which is going to be this direction right here. Okay, so this should be at the top of your paper then, if you turned it the correct way. All right, now let's replot those points. So U prime is going to be at -2, 0. So here's my origin. -2, 0 would be right here. That's going to be U prime. And then I want the point -3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be right here. That's my R prime. And then I want the point 2, 2. So here's my origin. 2, 2 would be right here. That's going to be my M prime. Make sure that your image has prime notation. All right, make sure you put the prime on all of those. And then we can draw in our sides. I'm going to emphasize my prime right there because it got kind of cut off a little bit. And let's take a look and see if that makes sense. The blue one was our original, and we wanted to rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise, so it's coming this direction. That would make sense. If you want, and I think it's actually helpful to then make sure that your prime notation things can be read. So R prime is this one, U prime is this one, and M prime is that one. So even though we labeled it when our paper was sideways, I do think it's helpful to then relabel it once your paper is back to the way it should be. Okay? All right, we have one more to do. All right, and we are going to do this one together as well. So plot your original points. Okay, let's do that in blue because that's what we did last time. And we want to rotate 180 degrees, which means we're just going to flip our paper upside down. So this one's a little bit easier. But let's plot all those points. Negative 5, 5, or negative 5, negative 5, excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5. So that's right here. That's P. And then negative 3, 0 would be right here. That's N. 0, negative 1 would be C. And negative 2, negative 4 would be right here. That's S. So let's go ahead and draw in our figure. And we want to rotate it 180 degrees. So take a second and see if you can figure out where this is going to end up. All right, if I want to rotate 180 degrees and I'm in quadrant 3, see if you can think about what quadrant we should end up in. Okay, so think it to yourself and let's actually do it. If I want to rotate 180 degrees, I'm going to take my paper and flip it completely upside down. And then I'm going to replot these exact same points. So P prime is going to be at negative 5, negative 5. So that's going to be here. N prime is at negative 3, 0. 1, 2, 3. C prime is going to be at 0, negative 1. And S prime is going to be at negative 2, negative 4. So negative 2, negative 4 right here. That's our S prime. And we can draw in our figure. And let's turn it back to normal and see if that makes sense to us. Hopefully, if you thought about it, then if we start in quadrant 3, we are ending in quadrant 1 if we're rotating 180 degrees. That would definitely make sense. And again, I'm going to go through and I'm just going to relabel my points. That's my P prime, that's S prime, here's C prime, and this one is N prime, just so that we can read the points correctly without having to turn our heads upside down. Okay, we're going to get tons of practice with this, and then like I said, on day 2, we're going to do this, but without the coordinate plane, we're actually going to do it with our compass and our protractor. So make sure that you have those with you in the next couple of days, and then for the quiz and the test, you're going to need them as well. If you have questions, make sure that you talk to me when you come to class tomorrow. I will see you guys later. Bye!